Alright, so in today's video we're going to be going over how to create a overhead label for your character. So the first thing you want to do is insert a part, and what we're going to do is we're going to insert a billboard GUI into this part. A billboard GUI basically displays a UI element in your game physically, but there's a ton of properties of this that are quite confusing to understand, so we're going to go over them. So we're also going to insert a text label. As you can see, it has this it looks really wonky. As you back up, it appears as though it's getting bigger. So to fix this, first we're going to click on Billboard GUI and we're going to put always on top. And that makes it so that your label is always on top of any part. So you can see it two parts, but we're going to go over how to fix that later. Alright, then next we are going to do, here we have our stud offset, and this is going to offset our label. So I'm going to do 2, and this will put it above whatever part we decide to put it on. And since we're putting this inside of our player's head, it's going to be above the player's head, and that's what we need it to be. So now that it is like that, we're also going to click on text label. I'm just going to change the name of this label to just label. And then you can go ahead and change your text settings. I'm going to set it to text scaled. I'm going to change the font, and then you can leave it, the text is fine, we'll change that later. And then you can change this to overhead. So as you can see, the only problem we have to fix is the weird scaling thing. So click on Billboard GUI up here, and we're going to go to size. And you can see that it is on offset, and we do not want it to be on offset. So set these to 0, and what we're going to do is use scale. So of course your X is going to be bigger than your Y, so let's do 4. Now I'm going to do 3 actually, and 1. And that is going to make a rectangle. But as you can see, our text label is still doing the same thing. So basically all we have to do is do the same exact thing, except our scale is going to be 1 for both of them. So set your scale to 1 and then to 1, because the way scale works is it's scaling this text label to 1, which is the 100% of the size of its parenting object, which is Billboard GUI. Specifically this, we have a set size. It kind of works the same as a regular GUI. Like if you put a text label in a frame, if you set it to 1 and 1, the text label will fill up the frame, whatever size the frame is. So that's kind of the same thing that's working here. So as you can see, it should be working, but the one other thing we need to do is change the max distance. And this is kind of our quick fix to the being able to see it through parts. Of course, you don't want to see every single player in your game from all around the map. So of course, to get through this, we're going to set our max distance to about 30, and this represents 30 studs. So as you get farther away, it will disappear. You get closer, it reappears. Alright, so now we have to make a script to actually put this on our player's head when they join the game. So go ahead and throw this overhead GUI object into server storage. You can go ahead and get rid of this part. Now in script service, I'm going to insert a script, and I'm just going to name this overhead. So what we need to do is create 2 variables for our server storage. So do game get service server storage, and then we need one for our overhead. So we're going to do local overhead equals server storage, wait for child overhead, and this is going to make sure that in case the script is going too fast and this object hasn't loaded, we're going to make sure that the script waits for it to load. And then next we just have to do a game.players.player added, so when the player joins the game, we can continue and put player inside of the parentheses. But then next what we're going to do is wait for the character. So player.character added, connect function, and then you put character inside of these parentheses. And whatever you write in here is going to be dependent on what you're looking for inside of your game. So here, if you're looking to put this overhead on the owner of the game, then you're going to do if player dot name is equal to, and then whatever, there's double equals, to whatever the name of the owner is. And in this case, it's Pixel Zombie X, because that's me. And then inside of here, we're gonna copy this overhead. So UI clone is going to be overhead clone, and then we're going to parent this to our character's head. So the parent is equal to character.head, and this should put the label in our player. So if we go ahead and test our game, you can see that it has a label here. But one thing we need to do, the last thing we need to do, is change the actual text of the label. So to do that, it's a very simple fix. Just go over here, and we're going to do UI clone.label. Make sure that this name right here is consistent with what you have named your text label. I named it label, so I'm using label.text, since text is a property of our label, and that is going to be equal to player.name. Or if you want, you can also do owner. So in this case, since we're doing owner, I'm just going to leave it owner. Then we're going to test it again. And as you can see, I am now the owner. If you would like to do this for people who are in a group, you can do if player is in group, and then in these parentheses, you're going to put the ID of your group. And I'm going to show you how to find the ID of your group right now. So if you go over to the Roblox website and go to your group, you can see up here at the top that there is a little number here in the URL bar, and you're going to copy that number, and that's your group ID. So simply put your ID in this little parentheses and we should be good. So if the player's in that group, then you can put member, since they are a member of the group, or you can put whatever you want. So if we go ahead and test, I know that I'm in that group, so this should work. And there you go, I am a member of the group. Now one thing to make this a little bit more appealing, which I like to do this, it looks really good in my opinion, I'm just going to create another part so I can look at it again. I'm going to put a UI corner element inside of our label. It's a new constraint thing, and it works so wonderful. As you can see, there's a little rounded edge on here. I'm actually going to change the scale until it gets to what I want, and I like that. I think it's good like that. So you go ahead and put this back. I'll delete this, and I'll test it one more time. You'll see that the little text label is rounded, and I think that's very cool. There's also something else you can do, which is just giving this to every single player in the game and just setting it to the player's name, which I think is pretty cool as well. So what we're going to do is remove this, and we'll be left with this. So since there's no if statements, then it's going to insert this into every character. And instead we're going to do player.name. But one thing we need to do is, as you can see, if I go over here and insert a rig, just a character, any object with a humanoid in it, the name of the model will appear on top, and the health bar as well. So in game, you know how you can see players' names and things like that? That will start fighting, and it'll look really weird in game if you have it enabled. So to disable it, we have to change a property of our humanoid. So as you can see in humanoid, there's this thing called display distance type, and currently this is on viewer. So we're going to set it to none, and the name of your player will not be visible. So to change that, you go back to your script, and we're going to do character.humanoid, and I'm going to make sure that I'm typing this right since it's quite long. Humanoid.display distance type is equal to, and this is a enum, so we're going to do enum.display distance, and as you can see, it shows the full complete. It's humanoid display distance type. You just hit tab and it'll fill it out for you, and then you hit dot none, and that should set it. So if we go ahead and test our game, I'm going to start up a server so you can see it with multiple people. You'll see that each character has a label above their head with their name on it. So as you can see, what we see here is we're on player 2, and as you can see, I can see both labels of our character, and as I walk away, their character thing disappears. And also, a thing you may notice is if you zoom out, your character's thing will also zoom out. There's a way to fix this. You can just limit their zoom distance, but I don't mind. I think it's fine, and I can show you as well that if we look at players 1's screen, you can also see it as well. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to hit the like button and consider subscribing. I'll see you guys in the next video.